So welcome, everybody. It's wonderful to see so many of you here. For those of you who haven't been to campus, it is the Cathedral of Learning is a really wonderful place. It makes you kind of feel like you're a part of history and you're also a part of a living entity. It's a very interesting building. And it's wonderful because there are so many other departments and schools in the same building. So you can ride an elevator and visit people who do philosophy or English or sociology or whatever it is that you might be interested in. So I just want to thank you all for being interested in social work. I think that as you all know, social work is at the front of so many of the things that are confronting our society right now. There's been so much talk about frontline workers over the past year, and social workers are really the frontline workers on all of the pandemics that we're dealing with right now. So we obviously have the public health pandemic, and we are working in so many ways and in so many venues to really address those issues, all of the social determinants of health that have become so obvious during this pandemic, and that the vast disparities in our country. And also all of the issues around racial justice and racial injustice and a call for anti-racism in our society. This week, I think, is a hard week because the trial in Minneapolis is riveting. It's grueling to watch, and it's for all kinds of reasons. But one of the things that I have so appreciated being in a school of social work for quite a long time now, but also being here at Pitt, is being surrounded by other people who are trying to change the world. And we're all very aware of the flaws that are in the world, the structural and the systemic issues that we are working against, the interpersonal issues, the personal experiences, all of these things that come together to influence people's lives. But there's something about coming to work or coming to class every day and having other people around you who are trying to address those issues from their perspective, from their vantage point, with their skill set, and that everyone is constantly trying to figure out, how do we do this better? And that is incredibly exhilarating. So as you all know, no matter what you've been doing over this past year now, it's been a slog fest. I mean, we have been hit by so many things. I've been talking to a lot of students and also to our faculty and staff, and we've kind of had it. I mean, we've done this. We've been here. We are ready for whatever comes next. But it's also been really energizing because, we've seen how horrible things can be. We've seen people come together to try to. And our colleagues, the students that go through our school, are now leading the organizations who are doing this work. We're in constant contact with over 500 agencies in the greater Pittsburgh area where our students are placed for field placements. And the wide range of things that they're doing is just phenomenal. And so, we all get caught up in our own little worlds, but it is so refreshing to be in a discipline and to be in a school where this is what we do. We try to understand the world from multiple perspectives. We try to figure out how you make it better. If you're interested in direct practice and in therapy, working with individuals and families and small groups, we've got a wonderful group of faculty you can work with who can really show you how to do that to the best of your ability. Interested in those big systemic issues in policy. We've got folks who are doing that too. If you're interested in how those all come together, we've got folks who are trying to think about that and do that. So regardless of what you're interested in, this is my third year being dean at the School of Social Work at Pitt. And every day there's something that happens and I'm like, okay, I hadn't thought about it quite that way before. And it makes you just have all of those kind of aha moments where you're like, okay, now I can rethink about this. I can reapproach it. And there's a way forward. And so that's what you get in social work. And I hope you'll get some of that tonight because you're going to be hearing from wonderful people who help to lead that whole sense of what we do. And I look forward to the possibility of all of you joining us. If you have questions, as Jesse said, I need to run. I have another thing I need to go to tonight. But if you are in the process of making a decision about where you're going to get your MSW and what might happen if you come to Pitt, any of us who are on this tonight would be more than happy for you to reach out. Please reach out. I'm on the website. It's just efarmer@pitt.edu. Happy to talk to people, answer your questions, give you a sense of what we do and why this could be a good fit for you to really launch the next phase of your life and of your career. So I will turn it back over to Jesse. I am thrilled to see you all, and I hope to actually meet you in person when we are all back circulating around campus next fall, which is our absolute hope and prayer of what we're going to be doing. So have a great rest of the evening, and good luck with your decision-making process, and please feel free to reach out. Jesse, it is all yours.
Thank you, Dr. Farmer. So I'm actually going to let Dr. Betru take over here and screen share. And she's just going to give a brief overview of our MSW program, just to kind of give you an idea of what curriculum will look like. And again, this is going to be a little bit of a duplication if you have attended one of our curriculum info sessions. So feel free to go grab a glass of water or whatever during this time.
No, this is
it's an overview.
Please stay. Your life is going to be changed.
Definitely just stay. All right, hunker down, listen up.
Oh my gosh. If you asked me these questions when you were in the program, I will say, oh, I remember you and your cat. And you were not present when I talked about this. It's so great to see everybody. It's interesting. I think being virtual in some ways has allowed some intimacy and also some distance. So in some ways, we're sort of coming into your spaces, your homes, and familiar faces and folks I've seen from last time. And I kid you not, I went to go look for vanilla Oreos because I didn't think they existed. I think Sherman's here, right? Sherman, did I see you? And so we had some folks name sort of their favorite snacks the last time. And I was impacted when someone said it was vanilla Oreos because I just didn't think it existed, but it exists. It's true. So it's good to see you guys. My name is Dr. Yodit Betru. I have been with the school for over 7 years, and I've been in the seat as the director of the MSW program for 2 years. I am a social worker through and through. I have my master's in social work. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, which means that I can practice, and I have practiced for a number of years. And then I also have my doctorate in clinical social work. So I have a DSW. So I very much love the profession. I love what it stands for. I'm bought in, I'm all in. And so making the decision to get an MSW is one of the wisest choices I've made. And I'm grateful because I think it's more than sort of thinking about your career, right? It's a profession. There's a group and an orientation and a calling in some ways to do what we do. And there's an element of social justice that is always going to be a part of the way that we think, even if we're doing direct practice, right? And for folks who are thinking about macro or wider level impacts, you're already using that lens. And so if you're going to be even sort of managing and doing more human services management, we still have the social justice lens because we come to this knowing that things need to be adjusted. So let me share a little bit about how we think about setting this up for you so that your transformation can be complete. I love seeing you guys at the beginning and then at the end where you're just, so fabulous and smarter than me. And I worry about my job because you're going to come get it because I'm like, oh my God, they're so smart. What are we going to do? So my plan is to mentor you so that I can take credit for all your greatness. Be like, oh, that was me. I totally said that to them in class. A student, funny story because of COVID. Can you guys see the big screen or are you seeing little screen? What do you see? I'm not sure.
Little screen.
Little screen. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me swap. Sorry, let me stop sharing.
But I love your background.
Thank you so much. I had a student in class who, it was the second day of class, and they were saying, you know, this professor read this poem to us and they said this thing and it was pretty meaningful. And I think it was last semester. And, you know, they were going on and on about this class and this professor. And I said, it was me. It was last week. I said that to you. So I want to say COVID has this impact on us in which we are not quite sure about time and space, and it just all feels really weird. So, okay, let's do that. It's a little bit big screen.
Yes.
All right. Okay. All right. So this is the cathedral. We are over here because we're super fancy, and we get to be in the school. Over here, again, I'll show you all the spots that we are. Okay, so a little bit about contextualizing the School of Social Work. So the school was established in 1918. So you're going to be coming into a program that's over 100 years old. It's the top ranked school in the country. It's one of the oldest schools in the country. And what that means is when we are out locally and nationally and even globally, it's a known school. Folks know who we are. We are impacting research, we are impacting practice, and you're going to get exposed to some of the best folks who are leaders within the field. And so what you'll see is we have the top center. So we have the Center on Race and Social Problems, which is it has been a significant space sort of nationally within social work, but it's becoming even more visible, particularly right now. And people come to us to lead in those areas. And we also have SciTech, which is our partnership with the Department of Psychiatry, where we're doing translational research. We have Child Welfare, which is the second largest child welfare program in the country. And then we have the CEC, the Community Engagement Centers, where you can actually go and be in the community. So there's classes there and people know us out within the community. And then we have aging initiatives as well. So we're thinking about development across the lifespan. And so what that means is when you're coming here, if you have varied interests, which many of you have, there's a space for you, there's a mentor for you, there's people who've been thinking about and researching this area for you, and where we can try to sort of figure out how we can merge what you're interested in, the area that you're going to impact, and who's doing that work, right? The Oakland campus enrolls approximately 200 students each fall. What that means, though, our classrooms tend to be capped at 25. And so you still get to have a small classroom environment. Your instructors will, all full-time faculty and tenured faculty, we all teach. And so we're in the classroom. You'll see Dean Farmer teaches 2 classes or 1. And so we're in the classroom with you, right? So we're thinking about it. And then what happens when you graduate and you are instructors, we bring you back in the classroom. So, we have folks who are great, incredible practitioners, leaders, and people who are doing incredible community work, who are leaders. And so they come back and we get to have them enrich you in the classroom as well. So we've got a great set of instructors. We also have 2 additional MSW regional campuses. One is in Johnstown, which is about an hour, 25 minutes away, and the other is in Bradford, which is about 3 hours away. It's close to the New York border. Beautiful campuses. And we started those programs because the community asked us to have an MSW program out there. So they said, we need a master's level clinicians, we need social workers, and we want what you're doing out in Oakland to come in this community. And so a lot of the nonprofit and behavioral health folks in that area are folks that we've trained and who are part of the Pitt family. Okay, so when you get here, you have to choose a specialization. We are a school where at some point, if you are a direct advanced standing student, meaning you have an undergraduate degree in social work, you have to come knowing already which area of specialization you're going to have. If you are a non-social work undergraduate major, say psychology, sociology, criminal justice, you have 1 semester, and then after that, you need to really decide on a specialization, although we kind of I think we make you pick it in the application process. But What it means is for direct practice, you are going to be thinking about your level of intervention, right? The level of change that you're going to target is going to be with individuals, families, and groups. If you are thinking about the COSA program, your level of intervention is a little wider. So you're going to be thinking about communities, organization, and social action. And so it just depends on what area of interest that you have and what your sphere of influence is going to be. No right or wrong answer. It's just a matter of what's a fit for you. So when you come here, we have what we call the generalist year and the specialization year. And the generalist year, you're going to take a set of courses that provide you with a general set of social work skills. So what that means is you're going to, if you are not, I wasn't aware of like the language that social work use. So for instance, we use a lot of person and environment. You'll be exposed to the social work code of ethics, which is sort of the foundation for a lot of the things that we do. We will talk a lot about field. So there's just a way, an orientation and a language that we use that you'll need to get exposed to. And so the generalist semester allows you to do that. And then your specialization year, that's when you get to do some of the stuff that you guys are interested in when you're coming in, right? So you're thinking, I want to do trauma-focused therapy. I want to do nonprofit management. So that's when you get to do that in your specialization year. You get to take special electives, you'll take special policy classes. And so that's sort of the second part of your educational training. So the direct practice specialization has 5 certificates that you can choose. You don't have to choose a certificate per certificate, but a lot of folks do. People are interested in a mental health certificate. Typically, it's mental health, children, youth, and families. We have a really newer and powerful integrated healthcare certificate, which is, completely responsive and relevant, particularly now. We have a wonderful gerontology program where we have folks who are going to be working with people who are aging and thinking about aging initiatives. And then we have a really robust home and school visitor. You know what? I feel like Trump, where I'm like, and this is number 1, and this is the best. And students tend to like certificate programs that keeps you sort of in a cohort with folks, that groups your classes together so that you have a way of thinking about exactly what you want to do when you graduate. And so the certificate programs allow you to sort of think about exactly what that looks like. And they're tied to your internship as well, your specialization internship. So the direct practice course plan, fall term, you take 4 classes and you have your internship. Spring term, you take 4 classes and an internship too. They're sort of the same. And then in the fall and spring of your second year, that's when you get to have more of your electives. And then you have your specialized field practice. And so some of the electives that we have in direct practice that people are interested in that are sort of, we have grief and loss, there's psychopharmacology, clinical pathology, direct practice with the elderly, intimate partner violence, social work and substance use, couples therapy, groups, spirituality, clinical social work with African-American families, trauma. So there's a wide range of electives that you can do, and you have an opportunity to do about 4 electives. And then we have our COSA program. And so we think about COSA in terms of two areas. One is the community organizing and leadership. And so thinking about being in the community, think President Obama, right? And then the other is thinking about human services management. And so that's being leaders within the organization, not essentially sort of thinking about like a nonprofit management, right? And so community organizing means that you're going to have skill sets to think about community planning and development, community and social change. You'll think a lot about policy and practice and advocacy, so some political working. For human service management, we do have a certificate for that. You take classes on organizational management, governance, public, nonprofit. And so this is sort of thinking about social workers tend to work a lot in public spaces. And so we want to make sure that you're also leaders in these spaces, right? And so how do we train you to do that? COSA course plan is similar to the direct practice plan, where your first and second semesters are the similar set of classes, but you will have second level human behavior class that's called Human Behavior in the Urban Environment. You're going to have a class on organization and public policy. You also have access to a really great research class called Community-Based Participatory Research, where you're actually going to be doing research within the community with the folks, right? And then you'll get to take some electives, and some of the electives for COSA are grant writing, leadership, working with groups and intergroups, community planning and development, social entrepreneurship. So some really nice set of electives for you. And then we have another part of the curriculum that's pretty central, which is field. So, field is considered a classroom in the community. It's important for you to think about what you're learning in the classroom and then apply it. We're an applied profession, right? So we actually do things. And so what field allows us to do is have you do those things in a supervised environment with some of the best people, right? So people who are leaders within the field, people who really know how to be with folks, who are using a structured format. We have a full field faculty that are dedicated to finding you the right placement, supervising you in that placement, and making sure that you have a robust plan within that. And what that often leads to after your specialization placement is that you are offered a job typically. That's sort of an extended interview process for the agencies, but for you, it's a training ground in a really protective environment. And so faculty tend to serve on boards of organizations. They do research with agencies. And we also can put in a good word for you guys in terms of thinking about future job placements, because I know people are concerned about the economy and, what is it looking like out there? And people are getting hired right now, as early as now. Our students are being offered positions because they're really impressive. And I hear over and over again how much they love Pitt interns. And if they can give me as many as possible, because our students are incredible interns and we have long relationships with agencies. So that's sort of an overview of the MSW curriculum. I will send it back to Jessie. If there's any questions, you can put it in the chat, or I'll let her decide how we're going to do the question and answer time. You're on mute, Jess.
Thanks. So folks can feel free to put questions in the chat, and I'm going to try to answer them just in the chat here. And then if there are ones that I cannot answer, I'll put it on reserve for during Q&A. I'm hoping to reserve the last half an hour for questions specifically, but then I'll just try to answer them while we're going through the agenda. So I'll let Dr. Caldwell take it from here and share his information while I kind of
sounds good. I just threw one quick answer in the chat there, so it took me a quick second. So, well, thanks so much for that great overview of the curriculum. And I see there's all kinds of questions coming in, and we'll have some good time at the end here for Q&A. And as Jessie said, we'll try and cover as many of those as we can in the interim via the chat. So I think I have to say the obligatory, can everybody see my screen? Yeah. All right. So again, today's about admitted students. This is the automatic transcription service that PowerPoint has now. So if you see that typing below my name, it's quite distracting for me, but hopefully it isn't for you. Certainly increases access. We got a welcome from Dean Farmer. We got Dr. Boettcher giving us a great curricular overview. I'm here to talk to you about what happens next. For many of you who have already submitted your tuition deposit, for many of you who might be waiting to hear more about tonight and are waiting until tomorrow's deadline, we're going to go over that. Jessie's then going to provide us with some good information about general sort of supports and programming, and then we're going to hopefully leave some good amount of time for additional Q&A because we have 113 of you on here. We want to make sure and give you lots of time to ask all those important burning questions. I should cover a number of them today, including, again, from the perspective of what happens next. What do people want to know? It is March. It's still March, right? Somebody put Blur's Day in the chat and made it, that spoke to me. So it's March, but we're already thinking about next year. When do I register for classes? We'll talk about that. When will I meet about my field placement? We'll talk about that. An academic advisor, can I get one? And well, when will I get one? We'll talk about that. I keep hearing about exemption exams. What are they and when are they? We'll talk about that. And is there an orientation? We'll answer that question as well as we roll through our time together here. So fall class registration for all of our incoming students will be happening in the summer. In June, for any of you who are coming in as an advanced standing student, so students who have a bachelor's degree in social work completed within the last 7 years, we will do registration in June because you have a shorter menu of classes that you can take. So you get to go first, as they say. For our non-advanced standing students, as Dr. Betru said, coming in from other disciplines related or completely unrelated, there's some wonderful, interesting backgrounds among this incoming class. We'll be doing registration in July. We'll have self-registration options for you non-advanced standing students. And we'll also have opportunities for advising one-on-ones with folks like myself and Dr. Betru and other faculty members who are here over the summer, as well as some group discussions to help you figure out within the classes that you have available and answer those questions around sort of how will I manage my schedule and all the other things that come into play in kickstarting your first semester of graduate study. For any students who are doing part-time study, whether it be advanced standing or non-advanced standing, you'll follow those same timelines for enrollment. Oh, and we will do that, of course, remotely. We anticipate the campus and building continuing to open up, but also know that folks might not be finding their way to Pittsburgh if you're out of town or out of state for a little bit of a time later. When will I find out about my field placement? For you advanced standing students, you're going to start your field placement right after Labor Day. So getting ready to roll the first week in September. So we've got to get that stuff rolling. For our non-advanced standing students, you'll start your generalist field placement at the end of September or beginning of October. We stagger it a little bit for that first field placement. Either way, in both of your cases, as soon as you submit your tuition deposit, Jesse has an automated response that goes to you all that includes an online request for field placement. That request for field placement helps you initiate and start the process of identifying field opportunities and areas of interest. Once that's submitted, generally you're contacted by a member of our field faculty within 1 to 2 weeks. A common question we get is, do I find these on my own? Absolutely not. For those of you doing our full 60 credit MSW, it is 18 of your 60 academic credits. It is a substantial amount of your work. Advanced standing students, 12 of your 39 or more credits, substantial amount. So we're very protective and do an important detailed vetting of agencies that satisfy the requirements to be our classroom in the community, as Dr. Betru said. So your field faculty that's assigned to you works that process with you of identifying areas of interest, any restrictions you might have, and opportunities for growth, and then starts the matching process. So it's a collaborative process. If you don't hear from somebody from the field faculty in more than 2 weeks, just let me know, and we can make sure that we've got you in the queue and jumpstart that connection for you. Exemption exams, what are they and when are they? So, as Dr. Betru presented, for non-advanced standing students, which again is the vast majority of you, you have 2 generalist classes. One is our sort of theoretical view of human development across the lifespan called Human Behavior in the Social Environment, or HBSE. And we also have a generalist introductory research class called Generalist Social Work Research. We offer students opportunities to attempt exemption exams for each of those classes, because oftentimes if you have coursework or an undergraduate degree in psychology or one of the sort of health sciences or in sociology, you may have covered a lot of the theoretical frameworks that we would be introducing to you in the HBSE class. And the same thing if you have a strong background in research, you can you might want to try the exemption exam. It doesn't reduce the number of credits you have to complete. It just frees up, if you pass both of them, 6 additional credits that you could apply towards general electives. General electives being courses that are generalist in nature or advanced skills electives. For full-time students, HBSE is taken in the fall of your first year and generalist research in the spring of your first year. So it would free up some credits there. I'll send out more information on that, but we will be doing those exemption exams online. They're done via Qualtrics, and I'll be setting up a series of dates at which groups of students can attempt them online. They're 2 hours in length at the most, about 80 questions per, and we'll give you information on the textbooks that we use for that class and what to expect. This is a no-risk proposition. We don't charge you to take the exemption exam. The only thing that costs you is 2 hours of your life plus whatever you spend studying, which is, time is not free, but nonetheless. And if you pass it, you still are not required to not take that class. You might pass it and say, you know what? I just got through this, but I think I really need to strengthen up my knowledge of these theories, or I really could use this full 3-credit course in research. And if you don't pass it, then you're still in the same boat you were before. If you do pass it, again, some more flexibility in there, but those would be completed online. And we want to do those in May and June before you actually do your fall term schedule, because as I said, the HBSE class would be taken in the fall. Again, for those of you who are advanced standing, that would already be part of your advanced standing package, more than likely, so you would not be taking these exemption exams. Academic advisor, who are they and when will I find out who they are? So as I mentioned, a number of us on the faculty will be working with you over the summer for your first semester's registration. At orientation, you will be assigned your formal academic advisor. These are members of our faculty who, in addition to their work in teaching and research and scholarship, also serve as academic advisors. At a minimum, you meet with that person once a semester to do your course scheduling for the upcoming semester. We do self-registration online, but there is an advising hold that has to be released. So you're forced to meet with us at least once. That being said, hopefully this is a coaching, mentoring sort of supportive relationship where you have a chance to come in and ask questions about things as simple as navigating the program, which sometimes don't seem so simple. Sometimes it's around problem solving, helping us make little problems not become big problems, or negotiating different aspects of the program or courses or the curriculum or the profession. So we really value those opportunities, and it's the primary liaison you have for working your way through the program. So that person will be assigned to you at our new student orientation. My goodness, when would that happen to be? So our new student orientation will be scheduled in late August. In the past, we've always had it on the Thursday and Friday before classes start, but this year, due to the university's slight adaptation of the academic calendar, classes actually start on Friday, August 27th. So we'll have orientation earlier in that week, official dates to be determined. So what do we do there? Well, again, we find our academic advisors and have one-on-one and group meetings. You get a chance to meet all of your faculty as well as our staff members, and assuming all continues to move in the direction that it is, real human classmates in person outside of just Zoom. So a wonderful opportunity, because we're really utilizing this as a chance to springboard the building of our social work community. So there'll be some student events. Our Student Executive Council, or SEC, is our student shared governance organizations. Those are your elected classmates who serve on academic committees, create general and supportive student programming, and also are available to represent your concerns and all the things you love about your program to your school. We don't stop there, because we know that a 1 or 2 day orientation in August, when we pour everything that you need to know throughout the next 2 years in our program, it starts dripping out about halfway through the day, right? We are overflowing with information. So what we started 2 years ago was an extended orientation program, and it was really, really well received. What we want to do is provide a number of weekly events throughout the first 6 weeks of the semester. Programs around self-care, programs around field placement, social events and programs. We did a diversity food festival highlighting minority-owned restaurants and businesses with food and well, free food on campus, which is always a fun thing to be able to do, and bring people together as we build community. And really what that brought you to was that first required touch point with your academic advisor in the middle of October when you'd be registering for spring classes. So it is, to be clear, imperative, super important that you join us for our new student orientation. That being said, we're going to continue to help you effectively transition into graduate study through a series of academic, supportive, and social programs. And again, it'll be here before we know it. Classes begin on Friday, August 27th. All of our classes meet once per week. So if you don't have a Friday class, of course, you won't start classes until the following Monday, or whatever day your classes fall. But that is the start of our academic calendar. So we wanted to open up time for Q&A, but I know Jessie had some things she wanted to cover first. Jessie, are there any questions we should jump in right now? So Nicole has a question there for your academic advisor. So Nicole, what happens is, again, faculty members serve as an early academic advisor and register you for fall classes. And then your formal academic advisor that will work with you throughout your time in the program will be assigned at orientation. For some of you who will have me as an academic advisor, that will continue on. For some of you who will have Dr. Betru as an academic advisor going forward, that will continue on from there. Can we find a schedule of classes? Absolutely. We'll start putting all of that stuff in the chat. Excuse me. Again, when is orientation? Late August, but we have to figure out the exact dates because, again, the academic calendar just got changed on us. So we'll have to move it a little earlier than the normal Thursday, Friday session we have, but we'll get that to you as soon as we can.
Yeah, it was normally the Thursday and Friday before classes started, but it might change. Last year we had to do it in an online format. Time will tell how the format will necessarily be this year, but
I hope it's in person.
No.
I hope I can hug all of you. Oh man, I'm really ready to see you guys. It'll be really exciting to have some energy.
Absolutely. Well, let's let Jessie finish out her piece there, and then we'll start answering some more of those questions. Will someone from the faculty contest direct? Absolutely. We will schedule registration dates with you. Again, I'm giving you an overview of what's broadly being expected here, but this will all be very much detailed as soon as we finalize bringing in our incoming student class.
Then I saw a question, Keith. I'm not on mute, right? Okay, no. I did see a question saying, are fellowships taxable? I don't think they are, but that would be a
no,
question.
it is not. It is not considered taxable income. It's an educational award to support education. Yeah. I popped an answer in on that one.
Okay, but if you are in a fellowship, you cannot. I saw another question. You cannot flip flop from part-time to full-time if you're in a fellowship, because likely the requirement for that fellowship is to be a full-time student. So I just want to quickly go over graduate student resources available to you guys as graduate students here in the University of Pittsburgh. So Pitt in general does provide an array of supports for graduate students. So some of these are regarding just student life, health and wellness, and then the School of Social Work in particular has the Van Kirk Career Center. And regarding graduate student life, this can go from health insurance options to programs that promote physical and mental well-being. So Pitt really just wants to empower students mentally and physically on the campus. They provide a pretty extensive website where you can search nearby apartments and neighborhoods regarding off-campus living. That will include safety tips, how to report a non-emergency to the city of Pittsburgh, information on free transportation options such as Port Authority or campus shuttles. And you can utilize that with your Pitt ID, which I'll touch upon later. If you happen to be a parent, there is an interactive map of lactation rooms available through the campus, and there is University Child Development Center on campus as well. And Pitt also has an Office of Diversity and Inclusion, a Title IX department, both of which students can utilize anonymously or not. And there is a school ombudsperson as well. That's me for the school social work. For any issues, whether you think it's tiny, come to me quickly before it becomes bigger. If it's anything at all that that you want to have an anonymous set of ears listen. Ombuds people are mandated reporters, so keep that in mind. There are a number of them for graduate students specifically throughout the university. So even if you thought, this is just too close to home, I don't feel like going to anybody in the school social work, you can come to me and say, can you tell me an ombudsperson that you think could handle another issue? I can either recommend it or just go to the provost's office website. It's going to list all of us there. And, we all are happy to help, and we lean on each other to get the best support for the students as well. So there's also an interactive map of single occupancy restaurants where students can use any restaurant or I'm hungry, I guess, restroom that corresponds with their gender identity. And some of those are within the school of social work. We have signs that say, use whichever restroom feels comfortable for you. And that I know there's many more in the cathedral particularly, and then elsewhere on the campus as well. It also provides students guides which organize places of worship for them in Pittsburgh, and has formal guidelines that have been put in place by the provost's office to excuse absences that happen to coincide with religious holidays. And it also has an Office of International Services. They're going to handle your I-20s, things like that, or any concerns that you might have as an international student while you're coming to campus and before you come and during your time here. We also have a Veterans Services team on campus that can assist and support any veterans. So there's also a number of health and wellness services that Pitt provides. They provide, our student health service does provide high quality primary health care, prevention, health education, and pharmacy services for students on campus. Within that student health umbrella is the pharmacy services, where they provide students with a place where they can get prescriptions easily, pretty inexpensively on campus. They can pick them up, and they can also mail to them now. And you can also get over-the-counter stuff there. It's really conveniently located. It's right diagonally across the street from the cathedral. Really close to there as well is the counseling center. So they not only provide students with therapy appointments as well as drop-in hours, but they also provide students with really great free public online library of online therapy options. It's sort of like your Stop, Breathe, and Think app on your Android device. Sorry, iPhone folks. I think there's probably one for you guys too. But it's really cool. With your Pitt username, you can just log in there. It's called Therapy Assistance Online, TAO, and it provides an awesome amount of exercises for mindfulness, problem-solving skills, stress management, and more. So the Counseling Center has shifted to an online platform to help students with virtual group counseling options, teletalk, virtual wellness workshops, and education opportunities as well. So just keep that in mind. Pitt also has a Disability Resources and Services Department, or DRS for short. And they really haven't skipped a beat when we moved to this academic landscape throughout the past year. That's evolved a lot, as we all have seen. They have a pretty streamlined process for students to follow and complete in order to obtain any necessary accommodations that you might need. Human Resources also offers graduate student health plans that provide comprehensive coverage for students without the need to pay a deductible. And you can explore those options through their website. So that can often be a concern for students. And lastly, I want to throw out there that Pitt has a number of fitness centers on the university. There's, I think, 2 pools, one up on the hill, one in Belfield. There's a climbing wall on the hill. There's a bicycle cave where you can do repairs on your bike. And they're also in the process of building a 300,000 square foot amazing fitness center that finally staff will have the opportunities to use as well. So, but also, hopefully when we're in person in the fall, fingers crossed, there is a lounge across the street from the cathedral in the William Pitt Union that what do they call themselves? GPSG, the Graduate and Professional Student Government. So they secured a room specifically for the graduate students to have a lounge in the William Pitt Union, to just be able to study, hang out, get to know each other. And then for students in the School of Social Work specifically, I do want to mention that we have the Van Kirk Career Center. Somebody put in the chat earlier, how do we prepare for licensure exams? This is how. Bobby Simmons is the director of the Career Center. He's happy to help students with resume writing, cover letter preparation, anything that you might need while you're a student, even after you're a student. These services still are available to you, which is really great. He does mock interviews so that you can learn all the funny quirks you have, how you might see me doing this. Maybe you'll learn those things, or moving your hands, or whatever funny things you might do during an interview when you're nervous. He'll record them so that you can watch yourself afterwards and be able to take back from that and learn. He also helps you with salary negotiation techniques, networking, job fairs, so a lot of cool things. He does a professional photo day for students, LinkedIn photos, and I think that about, there's probably so much more that I'm missing. So Bobby, that's his interview, or his email there, bobby@pitt.edu. Very difficult email. For the students in the School of Social Work, there's a student executive committee. They do everything for students as far as like small financial asks. Maybe you need help paying for a conference fee or something. They do have a resource that you can submit a request for funding through the student executive committee. Anything from that business related to just fun. Like last week, they hosted a trivia game night. So they're really there for everything. And then there's also the Union of Black Social Work Students. So that is just for the School of Social Work. One of our doctoral students created it. He's the founder, Courtney Van Hook. And right now they're in a transition period. So if you have any interest in that, let me know. And I think they're looking for a new president because our president of that committee graduated. And lastly, this is second to last. I want to mention Panther Central. So this is how you get your student ID after you pay your deposit. You can upload an online photo. That'll help make the process smoother, because right now I don't even think they're letting you walk into Panther Central. So I spoke with them today. You have to email panthercentral@pitt.edu after you upload that photo to say, hi, I've uploaded my photo. Will you please mail my ID to me? So after you have that, then you can ride Port Authority for free and all those campus shuttles. So that's a nice feature of your student ID. And FAFSA, a lot of students are wondering, why haven't I heard about FAFSA yet? Just know that as an undergraduate student, you would have been made aware of what was packaged to you earlier. And as a grad student, you hear a little later because they handle the undergrads first, the government. So you'll hear in June or July. And as long as you're in good standing with the government, meaning you haven't defaulted on any of your loans, then you're fine. You're going to be offered the max $20,500 per year. That's normally going to go in a fall, spring. So if you do want it to change, you have to tell the Financial Wellness Center at Pitt, and then they will move some of those funds to the summer. And that's your code to submit. It's the same for any school within the University of Pittsburgh, 008815. And I think that is about it that I have. And this is just a website that you might want to note. This is the Provost's office website that they created that just kind of goes over all of this stuff in much more detail. And again, I'm not necessarily the expert on all these things, but I'm super happy to direct you to whoever need be to figure out more of anything you might have any interest in. So I'm sure everybody knows my email because I emailed you, I email all of you all the time, but I will put my email in the chat. And